Welcome to the Daily Edge. Steve, Jake, Mark, we are the Noodlebergs. Let's find our edge. That starts with the affirmation. Every minute matters. My outcomes are a result of my choices that I make with my time. I organize my time with purpose and maximize my impact of every day. The question, can you really get anything done in 15 minutes? Can you really get anything done in 15 minutes?
First of all, you do a great job of reading the affirmation.
Well, thank you. So I try to really deliver it.
Excellent. You deliver it with passion. Here's the thing. The whole conversation starts with, have you ever said to yourself, I have no time? Sorry, I don't have the time for that, which is
everybody
bullshit.
Feels that way.
Well,
everybody has that feeling.
And
I'm running
says
out of time.
I have no time. Oh my God, I wish I could do that. I have no time, which is complete bullshit because we all have the same time.
Yep.
So that there's a premise there. We all have
same amount of hours.
86,000.
You're going to answer the question? Can you do something in 15 minutes?
Is 15 minutes enough time to get something done?
I believe
absolutely
if it's a structured 15 minutes, yes.
Sure. I guess it depends on what it is, right?
No.
Or just anything.
You can get anything done in any amount of time.
Wait.
So you can get, like, legitimately, if you plan the next
show
minute.
Off, we're done.
If
That's the edge today.
Thank you for showing up.
Any amount of time, you schedule it.
And so I want to just I want to take time management, like conceptualize it for people real quick. Because for us in football, every minute of your day was expected to be dedicated in the building, right? Like 7 a.m. staff meetings, 10 o'clock p.m. go home. Your whole day was expected to be there. Now there was a lot of wasted time, but we were also able to get a lot done because of how much planning and preparation went into what to do with that entire day. So for business people, most people just assume 9 to 5 is their work hours.
Well, I've always
and they have no plan.
I always admired your schedules because you could tell me 6 months in advance what was happening and what the weather was like.
It's interesting. I think it's interesting when we talk about football. Football is meeting all the time. We were meeting as staffs to another staff meeting to more staff meetings.
People think corporate America is death by meeting. They've never been in a football environment. Never.
Well, actually, I think it's funny because I think most people hide in their meetings in corporate America. That's why no work actually gets done.
Yeah, everybody's just sitting there.
They're just sitting there, right? Or
looking at the report.
Correct. And so they hide in these meetings and then they get out and no leader does any good work to structure what it's supposed to look like outside of the meeting times. And so I think it's funny because everyone's like, less meeting time and give your people less meeting time. I think if they removed all the meetings for most of these companies, people would be scared shitless.
Right.
They would show up to work and be like,
have no contact at all.
How the hell am I supposed to do what? Where am I going to find work 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the interesting part about time management and where people struggle is they give or have given so much of their time to someone else or still do. And then they try to either manufacture more time for themselves or figure out what to do, and they can't.
And so it's impossible, right? Let's just be very clear. You only have the time you have. 86,400 seconds in a day. You're not getting less. You're not getting more. Everybody gets the same amount unless you die, because then
who do you think struggles with time management more? I'm curious. Entrepreneurs or somebody who has to dedicate most of their time to someone else?
Both.
Yeah, I think it's equal. I really do think it's equal.
Different challenges.
I think the number one challenge for human beings is time management, particularly that are in a capitalist environment. Like you go to like Nepal, the monks got no issues with time management. You know what I mean? Like they got a lot. They're good. They know exactly what they're doing.
What are the chances that there would be a Nepal reference?
If anybody
have it on your bingo card, you never know what you're going to get.
I want to say this because I think it's important. For me, Geico, back to when they first came out and said, "We'll give you a quote in 15 minutes or less."
Yep.
When for all of us, we thought getting a quote was a full day thing.
Right.
Oh, I got this nightmare. I got to go get quotes,
like
whatever.
To the IRS.
Boom. So they took what somebody thought was a lot of time and crunched it down to 15.
Yep.
That inspired me to say, what else can we do that used to take a long time? And meeting people, networking, all of that stuff takes a lot of time.
Why 15 minutes? Why is that the number?
Because
it's a nice round number.
Well, for me, I'll tell you, I think it's a great question. But for me, it is if someone's not willing to commit 15 minutes to me, they're a space traveler. There's nothing there. So, it's a low enough bar.
For a business
we're talking specifically about a 15-minute virtual cup of coffee, right? So like that is our fun. That is the cornerstone of our biz dev process, is teaching people how to get virtual coffees and then what to do with virtual coffees. That was really unique to you 5 years ago. Prior to the pandemic, there wasn't anybody else speaking about virtual meetings as a way to connect and start the biz dev process.
Can I steal that?
Right. Now I will tell you, people are asking for 15 minutes everywhere. I get cold emails. Hey, if you've got 15 minutes for me, right? So like, it's not new anymore. 15 minutes is something.
But it's still a low enough bar that people think, oh, if you're willing to give me 15 minutes, I can shit all over you with what I want to sell you, and which is not a good use of 15 minutes, I don't think.
Right. I thought you had something to say. Okay, so I want to.
If we're going to talk about it in a business development sense, it makes total sense. I think a lot of our people.
Well, so I want to ask you a question though. No. You're a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody schedules an hour for you. Right. They oversleep. They live 20 minutes away and it took them 10 minutes to get in their car. Yeah. They're on their way and they're like, hey, I only have 15 minutes. Can you do something for me? Do you say, no, we can't do anything in 15 minutes?
I think it's independent on the person. I would say I have different clients, right? Yeah. Certain them, and I'm going to say this in the open, certain ones have priority over others. And so if they bleed into someone else's time, it gets cut off. Like once someone
That's what I'm saying. No. They say to you, hey, like, and I have a hard stop. Yeah. So I have you booked from 6 to 7. I'm not going to get there until 6:45. Can we do anything in 15 minutes?
No.
Not a value.
No.
You guys are crazy. No. I did a 15-minute workout on Saturday. It was wonderful.
No,
but not with a guided.
Yeah, I did.
Do it on your own.
That's offensive to me personally. Right. That you would expect me to do the work. Like that's not the normal process. You were late. We'll do this again another time and get a full hour. Right. Like you're gonna do a 15-minute coaching call when maybe I guess, but I don't think so. Like
you're gonna cancel. 30 minutes.
So not everything can in 15 minutes.
I agree. Yes.
Right. That's a key point here, and this is really where I wanted to get to.
I don't want to bring
is that in order to make any amount of time valuable, you have to know what you can get done inside of it, and then have a crystal clear plan on how to do that. Right. For me, Saturday mornings, I like to get more sleep than the rest of the week. So I don't want to wake up early in order to be able to get my full hour workout in. I want to sleep for another 30 minutes and eat into that time. But I know in a 20-minute workout, if I'm crystal clear on no rest and the amount of weight I'm going to push and the exercises I'm going to do, I get an equal strain in that 15 minutes as I would in a 45-minute workout where I'm taking rest and doing it in a different way.
But you wouldn't have a professional work with you for that 20 minutes.
That's not what I'm asking. What I'm saying is
can you? The question was what I do.
Can you get something done? The answer is yes. You can get something done.
Sure. The question specifically for that example was would I do something for them?
No. It's okay. Would you do anything? No. But can you do anything?
From a business standpoint, no.
Okay. But can you do something?
Sure. You can hop on the treadmill. Sure. I think the point. Get back to can you do anything in 15 minutes? Sure. I think in a business content, it's tough though. Sometimes you don't know how long. Like for me, I'm in creative. I have no idea how long certain creative is going to take me.
Sure.
And sometimes it's really hard to find the time to be creative. I really do not know sometimes how long it's going to take me.
1000%.
Right? And
or if you're going to have the juice.
Or I'm going to have the juice, right? And so when you talk to me in 15 minutes, I go, well, great. My creative time started and I have 15 minutes to be creative. I better be really fucking creative right now. Right. And I sit there and I go, okay, for someone who's in marketing and creative, you have to have a lot of flexibility on your calendar. Personally think that. If you're in a creative job, because it's going to come at different times. It's going to hit you and that juice and that energy of which you create with, you're going to try your best to put it on your calendar to have it happen at the same time. But I don't find that to be a real answer. And so I for different jobs, it's different.
Yeah,
like it's really hard.
As a ball coach, would you call game planning creative?
No.
Wow.
Not at all.
That's interesting.
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. Now, there are certain times you have to be creative within it, but you're going back and they're running a certain defense. We're going to run a certain play. Like, I don't find my creative time to be when I'm editing videos as much. Like, I'm talking about the generation of ideas, the planning. Like, to me, like, that's real creative work. If you talk about it in a football standpoint, if I watch 4 down and they're running a certain defense, I'm only going to run certain runs in 4 down. I don't have to be creative.
So this conversation is fascinating.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I think there's creative.
That's tactical.
For me, there was creative in there.
No, to me,
because you get how you're going to run it.
Sure, that's
are
tactical.
you going to change up the blocking scheme? That's all creative.
If you want to talk about it in a strictly football standpoint, sure. But I wouldn't want to be drawing plays late at night. It's the same thing.
The point of this conversation,
but sometimes I do though,
is how do we efficiently use the time that's allotted? Because a lot of people waste time. So for me, I took this like upfront approach where I would have to drive to somebody, get on their calendar, go see them, and the result would be a dud in 2 minutes.
Right.
I said, we can do this in 15 minutes.
Yep.
We can do this because it's not an overbearing commitment. That's what I'm looking for. Are you willing to invest 15 minutes?
And all you're trying to do is connect.
Correct.
There's only one single priority in that, which is, and this is where I think it's important. Like, you could block 90 minutes on your calendar and say, in the middle of, I'm most creative early in the mornings. It's when I'm feeling my best. I'm going to take from 7:30 to 9, and I'm going to do nothing other than sit in creativity. It's still possible that you get a block in that time and that you don't get a lot done, but you still had a very specific action you were trying to take inside of it, similar to a virtual cup of coffee in 15 minutes. I've got one thing I'm trying to do.
And we've identified 4 outcomes. So if I get to 15 minutes, great. Here's what the 4 outcomes could be. Boom, 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 boom. I'm
open to wherever it goes inside of that.
So for me, and this is just personal, like, one thing working at football and working in football taught me, and really growing up in sports and being an athlete and everything, was how to prioritize.
Yes.
And I think that's really where people struggle.
Correct.
Is that it's actually not the time on their calendar. They have no idea what is the most important thing on a daily basis. And they can't move 1 to 3 and 3 to 1 and 1 to 5 and 5 to 2. They can't do that on the fly.
Yep.
Where we were having to manage, 7 projects that were due by a Saturday, and little things were popping up, and you were going, all right, what time is it of the day? Where do I need to be? And how do I reshuffle it?
1,000%.
And that's a skill I think we really need to teach people, much more than, yes, having a calendar is massively important, right? Because if they can do that, then they can do anything in 15 minutes because they can say, you know what? In my head, I can't do 4 right now, but I can get 3 done in the next 13 minutes. Guess what? I'm going to get 3 done, and now I only have 4 priorities.
And that's really where I wanted this conversation to get to, is that you can do anything inside of any amount of time.
To be really smart,
as long as you really understand what priorities are, what needs to be done inside of those priorities, and then how to do them. And so I wanted to get to that point.
People are not skilled at making that decision.
Traditionally, football practices were periods long, right? Call them 20 periods long. And each period was 5 minutes. And you did certain work inside of the 5 minutes. And when I met Jimbo Fisher, he had come from the Nick Saban regime and the structure where they had odd minute periods. And we had to buy a new clock, because our clock didn't do odd minutes. You couldn't set it for 3 minutes. It was only set at 5 minutes. And I was like, whoa, like, we're about to have a 3-minute individual period. We just lost 2 minutes, number one. And we can't get anything done. We can't get anything done inside of 3 minutes. Wow. Then all of a sudden you started planning. You went, wait a minute, what do we actually have to practice that day? You wrote the plan out. You gave it to the equipment manager, so he had it. So the drill was already set up. And you were like, whoa, you could get a lot done in 3 minutes.
Kind of a cool Noodleberg story, because it wasn't like meant to happen this way, but it kind of did happen. You were at Florida my senior year of high school. I go to school my sophomore year, a couple months later, whatever. You're obviously gone now. But the guy who got hired to replace you then took over making the schedule. sitting with the head coach. And I will never forget, and I knew nothing. And I'm like, he like turns around, he goes, not for nothing, can you help me? And I was like, yeah, what are you working on? He goes, well, your brother built it. I don't really know. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
It's true.
And it was like moving the periods and making sure they all fit, and it made sense. And that was where I learned what it was like. And for those of you who don't know, like inside run was like banging, like they were hitting hard. It was like you didn't want to do that in the team. Right. You wanted to give them a break. And so that's how I started treating my schedule, was like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to work really hard on something and then to go into something else.
Yep.
Right. And so
I was the same philosophy lives in the business world. I do interactive, creative stuff in the morning,
right?
Because in the afternoon, I'm not the same guy,
right?
So,
in my opinion, what works for me is you got to have it on your calendar, almost like working time.
Yeah,
you got to have working time, and not necessarily. Now, the more you do it, the more you're going to get into a routine where things feel natural in that time.
Right.
You're going to be like, oh, I'm not a workout person in the morning until you do it enough, and then you are. Yep. Or I don't do business development late until you do it enough. Whatever it might has to be.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Like
as soon as you say you can't do something in that window, you can't do it in that window. But you haven't even tried it.
You got to be able to shift
in life, in business. You need to understand what the most important thing you need to
what
get
are the
done
priorities?
And what can you get done?
So you said priorities. I think for people who are in biz dev, they don't spend enough time developing new relationships, period. It doesn't work.
And I think that's
no other way.
It's like, we were so crystal clear on what we needed to do in a football sense to be successful that it just became about, okay, well, how do we fit it in the right places to get it done? If you have no idea what you really need to be doing in order to be successful, you're lost.
Don't
it's a waste
skip to
of time.
The calendar part,
right? Putting anything on your calendar is a waste of time.
I never needed
calendar.
It's a waste, and it's a recipe for failure, and that's what everybody does because everybody's preaching them.
Are like,
get it on their calendar, get it on.
Calendar blocking. If you don't know what the fuck to put in the calendar, you're wasting your time.
And if you can't prioritize and move it, you're going to miss something because you don't want to do it. And then you're never going to go back and it's going to spiral out of control.
So the key is to time management, prioritization.
Huge.
Right? Number one. If you can't be crystal clear on your priorities,
it leads to success.
What to do for those priorities? Just because you know that it's a priority, right? Like, hey, my priority is driving revenue.
I agree.
If you don't actually know what to do in order to drive revenue, then you're still lost. So the behaviors that feed the priorities, but then adaptability, right? And like that, you were the one who introduced me to the Eisenhower Matrix, which is a great way to systematically look at behaviors to be able to do it. But that's where I think people who hear time management, they need to understand that it's a system. It is your organizational system. It's not a calendar. It's not a tool. It's not a philosophy.
It's like online banking.
It is a thing that you build that works for you, that you're able to adapt with in order to drive that success. So the answer is yes, you could do something in 15 minutes.
If you know what to do.
If you know what to do. Awesome. Excellent show, guys. Thank you very much. Remember,
you've been helpful.
If you like the show, comment, like, and share it with a friend. We'll see you next time. Thanks for finding the edge with us.